As a Nigerian living in Nigeria, I have my own fair share of cultural shocks. Yeah, so just like the way people like travel to other countries and experience cultural shocks, right? That's the same way myself as a person born in Nigerian of Nigerian heritage, both parents Nigerian, living in Nigeria, never crossed the borders out of Nigeria, have my own fair share of cultural shock. So that's what today's video is all about. I'm going to be giving you a list of 10 cultural shocks I have about living in Nigeria as a Nigerian in no specific order. So without further ado, without plenty talk, let's hop right into the video. So guys, the first thing on my list is different cultural norms across regions. Guys, so if you don't know Nigeria, like let's assume you are a Nigerian that don't know Nigeria, or you are a foreigner, yeah, like in diaspora, you don't know much about Nigeria. Let me just give you a short interesting fact about Nigeria. So Nigeria is a multinational state, so it comprises of different nationalities joined together, right, or merged together to form a country, if that makes sense. So I think it's just like the way we have the United States, like country. I think Nigeria would have been better if it has a United Nations something in it, because okay, let me put it this way. Nigeria has 200 okay, let's start from the state. Nigeria is made up of like the southeast, the southwest, like so the north, south, east, west, right? And you have like the northeast, north, south, and those kind of things, right? Now, in all of these, Nigeria has 36 states plus the federal capital territory. So we can call it like 37 states, right? Okay, fine. Then Nigeria has 250. Okay, not even Nigeria have 250 ethnic groups, 371 tribes, and 500 distinct languages. Like it's as bad as when you come to a state, right? In some states in Nigeria, right, there might be a general language, right? You can come to, will I say, a village, and different communities in the same village have different languages that are not related. They don't understand themselves. Do you understand? Like, is that not shocking to you? For me, it's shocking. So, an Igbo girl, so I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, right? This was generally called like the southeast part of Nigeria. But I was born and I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria, the north central part of Nigeria. So I've had my fair share of intercultural experiences, right? And so I will tell you, it's crazy. So while we have like three major ethnic groups in Nigeria, that's the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Hausas, we have other minority groups, but we have popular ones like the Ijaw, the I think it's Kalabari. Is that Kalabari? I don't know. So we have the Ijaw, the Kalabari, there is Nupe, there is Tiv, and maybe in the northern part of Nigeria, I know some other one. We have like the, would I call it the Igons? I don't know if that's even a see, sometimes it's confusing. I don't know if it's like an ethnic group or if it's a tribe. So it's confusing because we have like the Igons, we have the Madas, we have the Baggies, we have a lot I don't even know. See, I don't know a lot. Nigeria, it's crazy. See, trust me that in Nigeria, an average Nigerian knows the three major ethnic groups, then probably their individual or ethnic group and their own tribe, then the general one. So because we have three general ethnic groups and three tribes, like majority tribes kind of thing. By the way, our lingua franca is English language because we're colonized by the Philippines, right? So why we have this, so like the northern part of the Nigeria generally speak Hausa, the eastern part of Nigeria generally speak Igbo, kind of. Then the western part of Nigeria generally speak Yoruba. And now there is one general language for whatever part, and that's our pidgin language. It's just like the patois, is it patois they call it of Jamaican, for Jamaicans, right? It's our own pidgin language, like crafted, and trust me, it's the sweetest language in the world. You feel me? Like it's the sweetest language in the world. And while a lot of people like throw me jabs that my pidgin sounds so funnerized, which to me, or for me it doesn't, but that's that about it. So this with just these facts I've presented to you, is it not shocking? An average Nigerian, right, aside their own individual language and the general ethnic languages, probably knows no more than 10 languages and can speak just literally three, which is a win because most people can. So being able to speak like at least three languages, the pidgin, then the English, then your own tribal language, and probably the general, the majority or predominant language of wherever region you are situated or you're living. That's literally for language. So it's a win for a Nigerian actually, but on average, I'm not sure Nigerians know up to 10. Like we know that there are different languages, we know, but we don't know them. We can't even list them to you. So sometimes the way you see foreigners will be like, is Africa a continent? And Africans are like, no, we have 56 countries, right? That's if I'm correct, and blah blah blah. That's how when you're like, Nigeria is a country. Yes, it's a country, but inside us we know that we don't even know ourselves that much, right? So that's a fun fact, and it's a culture shock to me. So the fact that you're going to a different state, and in that state you are bothered because, okay, pidgin language is a saving grace because literally almost everybody can speak broken English. So pidgin language is like broken English. So almost literally everybody can speak. So it's a saving grace for you. But you know, when you're meeting locals, you have to know the language. And imagine being in a state where two different communities speak different language that don't understand themselves. A lot of Nigerian youth corps members face this experience, and for most of them that's the beginning of their cultural shock. So if you are not someone that travel a lot like around Nigeria or go out to meet people, you are not exposed, then you are at you're very, what's the English word to use now, you might not really know about all this, and so that's why it's also a culture shock for a lot of them. But for me it is, and it's an interesting fact, right? So that's that about the first one. The second culture shock for me is the influence of religion on daily life. See, you see this part. It's a controversial topic, and it's something people walk on eggshells while talking about. So, in Nigeria, we have, I would say, three predominant religions in Nigeria, right? First is Christianity, of which I represent. I'm a Christian. Then there is Islam, right? Our cool brothers and sisters, happy Ramadan, and their Ramadan season fasting and the rest. So happy Ramadan to you. Then we have the traditionalists. So people who still practice the Nigerian or cultural tradition. So before Islam and Christianity came into Nigeria, we have, like I said, it's a multicultural state or country, right? Different ethnic groups, different cultures, and these different cultures and different ethnic groups have beliefs. They have their own cultural beliefs and traditions that they practice, right? So some have gods they worship. They have other practices, right, that they believe in that is not Christianity, there is not Islam. So while we've had Islam come in, we've had Christianity now. In fact, some funny thing is some Nigerians practice the three of them. So like it's crazy, but it's funny, and I think it's kind of a good thing, right? So we're embracing inclusiveness, right? And we're trying to be more accommodating, then it's actually a good thing because you can see someone who goes to church, goes to the mosque, and at the same time is in a traditional place of worship. It's that crazy. But then again, Islam and Christian has kind of merged so much with a lot of our cultures that sometimes it's very difficult to differentiate them. So let's take, for example, Igbo, right? And the Igbo have, like for the Igbo now, we don't have like a general tradition. So it's more like each culture and their own, each state, each village have their own culture and their own traditional worship and belief, if that makes sense, right? But generally, it is perceived now that most Igbos are Christians. In fact, if you talk about an Igbo being a Muslim, it sounds weird to a lot of people because predominantly Igbos are Christian. But then again, Igbos have their own traditional beliefs or cultures or practices, if that makes sense. So if you go to the eastern part of the country and you go to the villages, you see people who go to church on a Sunday and probably on a Saturday, maybe go to church on a Sunday morning, and in the evening they are going to their traditional place. I've seen it happen, right? So I'm not saying what I don't know. So why some people are more of the church, like they are doing church, no traditional belief, nothing whatsoever. Some people combine the two. Now there are still homes and families that have different religions in different people of different religions that make up a family. So which it's more common in the western part of the country, that's the Yoruba land kind of. So in the Yoruba land, the mother can be a Christian, the father can be a Muslim, the uncle and auntie can be a traditional worshiper, and they celebrate all these things all together, if that makes sense. So it's more like, and I feel like that affects like perception. So Christianity now, okay, religion has intertwined with our culture such that it has become a culture of itself. I don't know if that makes sense. So Christians practice Christianity, right? And it has now defined how we live our life. So not necessarily according to while there are cultural norms that cannot be erased, right? These cultural norms cannot be erased, but still, like, I don't know. I'm trying to find a better way to explain it so as not to confuse you. So, okay, I think as a Christian, okay, as an Igbo girl who is a Christian, most of what I do in life is now defined by me being a Christian and not necessarily being an Igbo girl. So while being an Igbo girl, there are so many things I would not do because I'm Igbo. My lifestyle is being defined more by my religion, and it has affected us somehow. And it's something I would say we are going down a very rough path, that it's not so funny because we have extremists in each of these religion. We have Christian fanatics, we have Islam fanatics, and we have traditionalists who are fanatics too. But just it's not kind of so common, you know. But when it comes to Christianity and Islam, we have fanatics, and it has kind of divided. It's beginning to cause like a rift or a division in the living, in the way we live and interact, right? So without religion, I feel like somehow I'm a Christian, right? But sometimes, like, I feel like we would be safer without taking religion to the extreme. So for me, being a Christian, Christianity is more of a lifestyle to me than a religion. So it's more like how I live my daily life. It's not necessarily a belief. It has shaped the way I perceive things, the way I communicate, the way I set my principles as a person. So it's more of a lifestyle to me. And that is the same thing that has happened to a lot of people in terms of religion. Now, when you meet extremists, it makes living difficult. So if you listen to the news, you see where among Christians, right, we have extremists that see other Christians as not Christians because probably they don't follow their doctrines, right? And you see where also Christians see Muslims as unbelievers, Muslims see Christians as unbelievers. And so certain times when it comes to some form of discussion and you bring in religions, it becomes so intense that it can lead to loss of lives. It's that bad. So it's kind of a shock. It might not seem it might seem normal, but it's not normal to me because why would you want to kill your fellow human being just because people have different belief systems, just because your religion differ? And I don't know what we preach. I feel like it's something that should be worked on by our religious leaders because we are first humans, kind of, right? So we are first humans, and I want to believe that we believe in God, right? So in as much as I'm a strong believer of God, and you might not necessarily agree with another person's belief or religion, but remember you're first human, and I think that is above all. That should count above all. Love should lead above all. In Christianity, love counts, and I'm so happy that Christianity is not like a kind of violent form of religion. I'm not saying any other religions. I'm talking from what I know. I've never been a Muslim. I've never been a traditionalist. I've always been Christian all my life. And from what I know, Christianity is more like a peaceful religion. Even though we have some this and that here and there, so in fact that's a major shock to me, because you can hear, oh, okay, there are situations that have happened where you see, from probably watching football, someone else stabs another person because the person said something about him being of an opposite religion. Like, is that not a shock to you? Should we not be living more in peace as people of one culture? Right? So it's a cultural shock to me. And I just hope I've made justice to that one. So let's go to the next point on my list, which is traffic and unwritten road rules. Okay. See, if you are not a Nigerian living in Nigeria, and you are coming to stay in certain parts of Nigeria, oh my God. Even me as a Nigerian, I cannot stay in certain places because of traffic and unwritten rules. So you see a lot of people beating traffic lights, right? Like, even when there are what they call it, traffic wardens there, you still see people beat the traffic lights. You see people just cross the road anyhow. Like, you would see cars coming on speed and you see people crossing the road. There will be pedestrian bridges and you still see people crossing, like not wanting to follow the pedestrian bridge. And it's crazy because me, I'm a scaredy baby. I'm a scaredy cat. Like, I'm very scared of crossing the road. So there are places I cannot stay because of the traffic. It's crazy. Have you been to Onitsha? Oh God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The road rules, traffic, everything is crazy. I can't even stay. I cannot stay. Or you want to talk about some part of Lagos? Oh Jesus! I'm currently based in Abuja, and it's fair. Abuja is a sweet place. It's London. London is even quite a very busy kind of place. So why am I in London? So it's more like a calm city. That's what I would say. So it's fair for me. The traffic is not as bad as it is, but in most of the other parts of Nigeria, it's crazy. Like, cars, you don't have time where maybe cars stop for people to pass. So you just get into the road, look left, look right before crossing the road. In fact, it's part of our when you're coming up in primary school and they're teaching you in social studies, they're teaching you traffic, road rules, look left and right before you cross, and all those kind of things. So that's that. It's crazy. I can't deal with the traffic. Like, you would see car on full speed and someone would just pass and expect people to stop. Like, if you hit them as the person driving, you have to pay for it. If you hit them as the person driving, you have to pay bills. But then some people don't even look to cross the road. Like, I'm also scared of taking bikes. See, there's a lot of one ways that go on, and riding bikes in Nigeria, it's crazy. Like, I've never gotten used to taking bikes. Like, I take them, but I'm always either holding the back seats or finding a way to hold, like, there's this iron like in front that kind of separates the rider seats from the person sitting behind. I'm always either holding something because I can't obviously hold on to the bike man, right? So I'm looking for something to hold, because guys, their ride is crazy. Like, they ride crazy. Right. See, warning. Bikes are crazy in Nigeria. If you like thrills, then maybe you can take bike, because those people, I feel like they have two lives somewhere. Like, aside the one you see them with, there's like a reserve at home, because they drive very reckless. So for the honking, I see a lot of people complain about cars honking. For me, I'm used to it. I've lived in Nigeria all my life, and so I'm used to it. So probably when I move, okay, in Abuja I don't hear so much of it, so not so crazy here in Abuja because there's not so much of traffic, but you still hear them. So it's something I'm used to. So probably when I move to another part of the world that has more calmer traffic regulations and rules and all those things, I'll be able to maybe tell the difference. But for now, I'm fine with the honking. It's not so crazy, especially except in some parts. Traffic can be mad, so if you have been to Lagos, some part of Lagos have mad traffic. I was talking to my friend the other time and she was supposed to go somewhere, and I told her, oh, it's just like give or take 1 hour including traffic, and she was like, what did you say? So apparently, I was like, okay, so I'm leaving the house around 8:30, right? So I thought I'm leaving the house around 8:30 and my appointment is by 9, but the place is like, I gave her the distance and it was quite far. She was like, it's quite close, and given traffic that it's good that she's based in Lagos, and for Lagos, so and you have to go to work around 9, depending on where you live, but most times you might have to leave the house around 5 to beat traffic, guys. I can't, sorry, I can't cap. I can't do that. I can't cope. So it's not something I can. So it's crazy. So if you're coming to Nigeria, it's something you might want to look for areas, part of Lagos. There are part of Lagos that don't have traffic issues, by the way. So these are things you might want to consider, right? So let's go to the next thing on the list. And the first thing on my list is the African time mentality. So there is timing and there is African time. Now let me tell you what African time means. It means if you have something scheduled, like there's an appointment for 9, you're setting up a meeting for 9. Africans have give an hour plus of that timing. So if you're scheduling for 9, okay, so if you want something to happen and you want to start by 10 on the dot, trust me, tell Nigerians you're starting by 8:30 or 9. If you're not just Africans, tell Africans you're starting, because we're never on time. But funny enough, it's something I kind of thought I've actively been working towards. So funny enough, I have one bad habit of rush hour preparation. So I like to go somewhere quite on time, but I'm always kind of rushing. So let's say I'm supposed to be somewhere around 8 and it takes me 30 minutes to get there, and so which means I should be leaving the house around 7:30, right? I don't know why I start preparing by 7:20. It's that crazy, but I'm working on it. And recently, especially since I entered the professional space, I've been working on timing, so I make sure I go to places on time. If I'm unable to meet up, I try to communicate. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, it affects the workspace, obviously too, because if you're to resume work around 8, you get to see people coming around 9. So, but offices and businesses have kind of found a way to put strict structures, and so it's getting better. But when it comes for like ceremonies, owambe, wedding, traditional marriage, hanging out with friends, if you're always on time, it's a problem. And if maybe you are trying to set up something, a majority of your audience are Africans, you would be boiling, because in fact, you know, the funny part is as bad as our formal offices also do this. So your office will tell you, oh, we have something going on, it's starting by 10, and tell me why you're coming by 10:30, nothing is happening. It's that crazy, it's that bad. And it's always a shock, because sometimes you might have another appointment, but because you don't even understand how the timing actually work, yeah, so you might have a meeting by 8 and have another one by 10, and you're struggling with how to do it, because you know that one that is by 8 might actually literally start by 9, and you have the one by 10 and it have to take you maybe 30 minutes, and you have to leave by 9:30, and maybe the program for that initial one is supposed to be like 2 hours, and you're looking for a way to like juggle both. It's crazy, and it's a culture shock for me, and I don't know for others, but for me, it's something I'm always like, Nigerian. So sometimes when I sit on TikTok and all those things, I laugh, it's funny, but it's also a culture shock, right? So the next thing on the list is customer service expectation. So Nigeria is not a fast-paced place, if I put it that way, right? So don't come to Nigeria. While there are places you can experience like very fast-paced customer experience, it's not always the case. Most times Nigeria has this. Okay, so when it comes to the hustling culture in Nigeria, it's fast-paced. It's everybody's always on the move. But when it comes to customer experience, Nigeria is slow-paced. Like, don't expect the fastest of experience. So if you're where everything goes this, when you come to Nigeria, slow down. Like if you're always like 30 minutes is 30 minutes, when you come to Nigeria, 30 minutes is probably an hour, if no more. And that's how it works, and we're kind of used to it, and we have our way of navigating this whole thing. And but it's crazy because you can go for something, like as a customer you go to a place and for me, I don't know, but for me sometimes I expect some a more friendly attitude, like things should go fast. Like you can go for something and you'll be seated waited, nobody will communicate to you anything, like nobody's trying to tell you, oh hold on, we have maybe it's something that you're supposed to wait for 10 minutes and you're still for 30 minutes, nobody will come to tell you, oh sorry, this is why you're waiting or anything, and they might just leave you. And sometimes that's why you might see a lot of customers now start shouting, what we call to para in Nigeria. They start to para, like they shouting, and that's why you now see the customer reps now wanting to react and respond. Like, why didn't you do it before the people start shouting? Why don't you communicate effectively? So that's that. The Nigerian customer experience is not fast paced, it's slow, it can be annoying. Like, I know, see, I can never get used to it. Like, it can be annoying most of the time. So probably you go to a service station for something, you want to go get a service, while a lot of companies are beginning to pick up on it and are like working towards making it, giving customers better experience. For some, it's still crazy. Places like, if you go to places like MTN offices, whether for SIM card registration or something, it's crazy. If you go for like NIN registration, in fact it happens very well with will I say federal agencies. It's also crazy with federal agencies. Like, so that's something you should take note of. It's a shock for me. And that's that. So let's move over to the next thing, which is bride price and marriage expectations. You see this point, this one, it boils my heart. Like, tell me why. So it's a Nigerian thing, it's a cultural thing, and most times it applies to why we have different cultures, right? We have different cultures in different part of the world, I would say, in different part of the country rather. So we have different cultures in different part of the country. Northern has their own cultural marriage, but there's one thing that is common in all of them. Tell me why extended family members who contributed nothing to your growth, to the growth of a child, especially with female children, they contributed nothing, like nothing. Some of them might be among the village people fighting you. Like, they contributed nothing to the growth of the child, and somehow they have like the power, they have higher power or higher say in terms of the marriage. Like, why is it like that? Like, why? It's annoying. And so when, okay, for me who is Igbo, right, they will come to tell you, our child, only my mama trained me, it's only my parents that trained me, and I know what they go through without assistance from extended family. But now when it comes to maybe marriage, you now see where Umwada bring their own list, these kinsmen bring their own list. And the funny thing is, they don't have mercy. Like, they're ready to cut your hair, they don't even care. They're just all about what they get from it. And for me, it's crazy. Just within the week, I think it was part of the things that triggered this video. I was talking to my brother, I'm like, I can never get like used to it. I can never get a hold of it. And sometimes you see a situation where maybe a man goes to marry a woman and there are issues. Why? Because the Umwada is like the association of first daughters of the state, or people who are married into the of the wives married into the community. So it's like an association, and the kinsmen, they are bringing their list. You don't know when I was born. You never contributed anything. Not even a hello, how are you? Not even a don't do this, don't do that. You never knew. You probably don't even see eye to eye with my parents. But time for my marriage, you are bringing a long list. And sometimes they insist you can't do that. And in fact, most times it causes altercations. It causes problem because you see the immediate family, the parents of the child, of the girl, insisting on, no, this is my daughter and I should decide how she should go. So we are not doing this, we are cutting this, it's crazy. I can never get used to it, and it's annoying. It's crazy and annoying at the same time. But it is what it is. We don't have a choice. It's something that is culture, is a norm, and But good thing is a lot of families are beginning to find their way around it. But it's crazy. I can never get my head around it. That's that for the marriage point. The next thing on the list is cash dominance versus digital payments. Well, these are changing. Why I would say that is, for me, I do a lot of digital payments. This I barely hold cash except when I'm traveling. So digital cash payment is more dominant for traveling. Like if you want to move from place to place, obviously pay your transport. How would you pay a taxi man? Can I make transfer of 300 naira to you? Don't look at show. You're crazy. Is something wrong with you, right? So sometimes if you even go to some place, they'll tell you to go and use a point of service or point of sales machine to get money. Like just go to the POS and get money and come and pay them their cash. Not all of them take transfers. Why a lot are beginning to take transfers? In fact, do you know it's as bad as some malls, some supermarkets don't even take transfers. They don't do that digital payment. And you can't blame them because there's a lot of things that go on with that. So sometimes you can make transfers and it might not drop. Like the person making the transfer actually made the transfer, right? But which showed I was debited, but it will never drop for them, like to the store you're making the transfer to, right? So while there is ATM, a lot of people stop carrying ATM because it sometimes gets stolen, it sometimes get lost, and they lose their money because people use it, fraud starts pick it up and move their money. So a lot of people prefer to do digital transfer to using of ATM, and now those transfers are crazy. There's a thing called fake alert and if I don't know if you're another part of the world, but in Nigeria there's a thing called fake alert. So I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they work with insiders I don't even know how they do it. But when they make, my dad was a victim at one point. They will make transfer to you, you will see it will reflect, your bank balance will change, right? But if you refresh it after a while, the money disappears, you don't see anything, and it's crazy. And businesses have lost money. For my dad, his was like in over 1 million that happened to him. So you can imagine how crazy that is. And that money, his profit in that money is not even much. It's more of like a capital kind of loss. So it's that crazy. And I don't know why people don't have mercy, right? Have sympathy. We're all struggling to survive, so why would you want to hurt your fellow human like that? But that's the thing. So in Nigeria we deal more with cash than with transfers. It happens. But I know recently, most times I just have my transport when I go to the market, like just different market to buy groceries and the rest. I make transfer and it works. But sometimes it's not that. So most time just hold your cash. That's the thing. If you're coming to Nigeria, you do cash more. You just have your ATM for online payments. That's that. So let's go to the next point on my list. The next point on my list is the over familiarity culture. Well, this is not bad, because this is different from being entitled. So the over familiarity culture isn't a bad thing per se, because you just need a topic to familiarize yourself with somebody. How do people make friends? You can just enter public transport and one person brings up a gist. He doesn't know you from nowhere and just start. Maybe something happened outside the window and the person start talking from there. People start talking from there. They start sharing their experiences, and that's how your friend have. And at the end, when you're done, people are like, "Hey, now see you, guy." That finished. Most times you don't exchange contact, but sometimes you do, and it's an interesting thing. I feel like that's the communal living. That's fun. Not you go to a place where everybody, and that's why when it comes to immigration, I'm kind of worried, because I don't think I want to stay in a place that don't have communal living, where to even ask questions from people around that is like a problem. I know there's a place that maybe you're probably shy to ask questions, but then again, being able to relate with people. You're in a bus. See, you can be in a bus and you're depressed, but you will laugh out your lungs, because maybe the conductor of the bus doesn't know you from nowhere. Will tell, beautiful sister, how are you doing? And just say one or two things, you just see yourself laughing. Someone that you don't know will just throw you one or two compliments. They can still throw you one or two jabs. So it just depends on their mood, and it's for me, it's okay. It's not quite a shock, but it's interesting, right? It's a cultural shock, but it's interesting because you go to certain places, you can't relate to nobody. You can't relate with nobody. You're on your own. You are lonely. Depression is killing. Depression, you can't be lonely in Nigeria because you can go out, except you decide to be lonely as a person on your own. But in Nigeria, I don't think you can ever be lonely. I don't think it works, because somehow you see yourself talking to somebody and you see people catching cruise, having fun without knowing each other. And sometimes that's how people meet best friends for life. So it's just a thing, and it's good. It's a good one actually. Let's talk about the next thing on the list, which is power supply disparities. Okay, so currently there's no lights. And it's crazy. Although I'm in Abuja, where my part of Abuja where I stay, I see more of lights. But then it's crazy. So Abuja power supply, or if I'm not, I notice it's not just an Abuja thing, right? I notice it's not just an Abuja thing. So you see situations where we have different bands, band A, band B, band C, and you see band A gets more light than band B, and band B gets more light than band C, all those kind of things. And our bill differ. So when you use prepaid, what you are charged for, like I said, so the band A, band B, band C, band A has more light more than band B has more light than band C, and like that. While there are some rural areas that don't really see lights for like days, while some rural areas have lights like very well. Some estates have 247 lights. We have areas that don't have 247 lights. So it's like this. So just pick where you want to stay. But just let me just inform you that if you don't have solar, you don't have gen, NEPA will embarrass you. Oh. So like Nigerian power electricity distribution company. So what we call it generally in Nigeria is NEPA, even if it is now like a private kind of company, like the has been shared different, this thing has their own, but generally we call it distribution, but it's NEPA kind of thing. So okay, it's currently power holding company, right? It's now power holding company after it was privatized. So it changed from NEPA, National Electricity Power Authority. That's NEPA, right? Now they changed it when it was privatized. That was years ago, to Power Holding Company of Nigeria. And now different, when you have what do they call it? Franchise. I think it's now into franchise or stuff like that. But the way it is NEPA will embarrass you. Like, just know that NEPA will embarrass you. I had this meeting, and in the middle of my meeting, I was the one hosting. I was the one anchoring the session, and I was talking. And NEPA took lights. I wanted to cry. Thank God they did not notice, because the moment they took light, I immediately clicked on my camera. It just looked like I turned my camera off, but it was NEPA that took lights. Tell me, why would they too like? And then I had the session I was anchoring was it was kind of a global stage session with people from different countries in different continents of the world, like a global thing. Like, why now? Why are they doing me like this? Like, why? I know because of time zone difference, we work more, like as Nigerians we deal more with, so when you deal with other time zones, most times you have to work at night. NEPA will embarrass it. The electricity is not sweet, but if you have money, and they are good, because when you are paying, if you're in an area that has 247 lights, you tend to pay more electricity bills and tariff and the rest. So your rent, just because you're in that area safe, and you're paying a different electricity bill, but because of just being in that area, your rent increases. So it's a thing. So there are areas you go, there is constant electricity 247. There are areas you go, no electricity, you will struggle. So that's it. And let me add to this, while we're talking like about the electricity distribution, let me talk about network. Oh, Jesus Christ. We have sorry, the call came in that I had to pick. It was work related. So back to what I was saying. I wanted to talk about network, what do they call it now? What foreigners call phone bill. Nigeria is crazy. The data bill. And okay, so we have like 4 major networks in Nigeria. We have MTN. I think up to 4. We have MTN. We have Airtel. We have Airtel is in 9 mobile. We have MTN. We have Airtel. We have Glo. Then I don't know if Etisalat still exists, but then I'm sure of Airtel, MTN, and Glo. And MTN is everywhere you go. It's a more common network, but these days they are becoming something else because their data plans are now crazy. So if I would advise you, if you're someone that works remotely, you're someone who like use internet a lot, I would advise you get a fiber network. Trust me, to save you time, it save you 50% of whatever you've been spending. So the installation might be quite expensive, but what you get to pay over time is not expensive. So depending on the data, so for the one we use, installation cost around 120, right? That's just for the installation. But for monthly unlimited internet, you get to pay depending on the speed you're subscribed to, right? You get to pay maybe 15k, 20k. Meanwhile, if you are doing your 500 naira a day, for those who do that, it doesn't last. Even if you sub 30 gig for a month, for how much? 15k, how much will it last? So it doesn't last. So it's not that 15 gig can finish in a week and you have to do another one, and at the end of the day, that 30 gig for 15k or how much you are paying might finish, would not even might, would finish, depending on your data usage though, would finish in a week, and you find yourself spending literally almost 60k a month on data. When you do your calculation, you might say, oh, it's just 500 naira, it's small data. Calculate it and you know how much you get. So I just advise you get like fiber network for your house, right? If you work mostly remotely. But if you don't work remotely, so you're always outside and you need data, that's when I'll say you should go for the broadband package for all these networks. That would work more for you. So that was like a bonus tip. I just said to merge it with the electricity distribution, but it's great. Now, I see network will embarrass you, and the way they suck data, they use straw to suck it, and it's crazy. It's not a good experience. It's crazy, but it's also a shock. See, all these things keep shocking me, so don't worry, it's a fact. It's a shock. It's just things you should also be aware of if you're coming to Nigeria. And I think that was the 9th thing on the list, or that is the 9th thing on the list. So the last thing on our list is food and dietary differences. Oh, so it's a shock, but it's a good shock, a good kind of shock. So I'm not someone that eats so much, but I love good food. So like I said, I'm from the eastern part of the country, and I grew up in the north, and I have relations with people from the west and other tribes, right? So I get to taste different food. Even while I like oha soup, I like egusi soup, I like okwa, not so much. I like okwa, but not so much. But I like akidi, I like abacha, right? I like ofe salad, all the rest. I still love amala. In fact, let me tell you, my love for amala, no bad. Like, everybody knows that one. Give me amala, and they will do with regularly, and you put shaki, momo, and fish. Oh, you brought me over for life. Like, but seriously, like, I love the food. And when you come to the northern delicacies, I don't really eat northern food that much, but because they don't really see, they have more snacks, if that makes sense, right? They have more of snacks, but snacks made from food are not necessarily flour, if that makes sense. So they have something called masa, that is rice cake. Oh, I like it. Have you taken masa with like fish, roasted fish? Ah, Jesus. Or masa with barbecue, or with the yaji, the sauce. They have the stew. I like masa, I like kawara, I like, see, we have different food, it's a good kind of shock. See, each time you taste something new, you're like, oh my god, where have I been all my life? Where have this been all my life? And you're like, oh my god. Have you tasted this one? I noticed that a lot of people don't really like it, but it's called kunu keda. So kunu is like a drink made out of either millet. It's like drink, right? Made out of millet, different things. So we have different kind of kunu. We have kunu dawa. That one is the normal one made from millet. So how they do it? You grind your millet, then you grind your sweet potato or your rice. Like there's this rice, the one that is not really peeled. Like that's how it is. Yeah. You grind it together with your fresh potato separately, then you use hot water to make the pap. Remember, you have not sipped the pap after grinding, so just after grinding it, you use water, your hot water, boiled water, to make it like pap. And so after it cools down for a while, you then pour in the grinded rice, and which we call syrup, by the way, the grinded rice and potato mix paste or ground into the pap mixture, and leave it to stay overnight. So when it stays overnight, you sieve it, and the water is when you sieve it, you take out the chaff and you have the juice, if that makes sense. And it is sweet. And we have another kind of kunu we call kunu aya. Kunu aya is where you use dates, you use tiger nut, you use coconut. You see that one enters in bedroom. Oh God. So for that one, you blend, you soak your tiger nut. So you can use dried one and soak it for a long time, or use the fresh one. But that one is more expensive and it's generally kunu spoils easily if it's not refrigerated. So it's a thing. And I forgot to add, if you want to stop your kunu dawa, whether you use dawa dough or any kind of millet family for that one, we usually put charcoal inside to stop it from fermenting. That's a good point for that one. Then you have the kunu, the one you do with the tiger nuts, date, coconut. That one, if you are blending it or grinding, just make sure you have ice block around, so that you pour the ice block, so that the as it's coming out of, it's grinding engine or blender, it's hot, so that the ice will be cooling it. If not, it can start there and then. But trust me, if you are slim, like you want to add flesh, drink any form of kunu, you add flesh. And my favorite is what they call it, kunu geda. Geda is granite in Hausa, so some people call it jeda, just depending on your part. So me, I know it as kunu geda. Now kunu geda is made from granite, and I like it because it has like things inside you can chew on. A lot of people don't like it, but well, I like it. Then I have some snacks and the rest. Hold on, let me show you something. Just hold on, let me show you one of my snacks. So I like to bring a snack I like to take. It's what we call kuka in the nuts. Look how I'm saying it. My mom will be like, am I Igbo? Am I a Northerner? Because I do a lot of that. So look at it. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see it. So this is called baobab fruit in English language, but we call it kuka in Hausa. I don't know the spelling, but interesting. You have like things you can munch on. We have this other one in Igbo called abacheleku. It has blue, black pea. Once you put it inside, it's orange like vitamin C. We have those things like, and there's a lot that you don't know. A lot. There's our so there are a lot of them by the way. So there is like a lot of variety of food and stuff. You get shocked. Who doesn't know suya? If you don't know suya, why? It's like with meat. So meat. Sorry. It slaps a bit though. So it's like grilled meat. Suya is like meat coated with spice, kind of granite, pepper and some other local spice. So the meat is coated in it and grilled. That kind of thing. That's suya. I have kilishi. See, Nigeria is blessed with food. Different things. We are going to the south part of the world. There's what they call starch and banga soup. See, we have variety and it's fun. So there are good culture shocks. There are ones that are not so nice, but I believe that generally there's no country that is up and down, and Nigeria is a good place. It has its goods, it has its bad. So if you want communal living, you want to have a village, if you're family oriented and you want to have a village, you want where you can, if you have the money, you can actually have quality life with cheap labor. Like, how do I put it? Lower cost of expenses with quality life, if that makes sense. So depending on your pay, if you have money, right, you can have whatever you want in Nigeria. See, there are places you go to Nigeria and you will spend money. Hey, I tell you, money, luxury or nothing. We have those kind of places in Nigeria. We have places that if you go, you just live average. And we have places that if you go, you don't get to see the rural life. So the parts that the media, the Western media, most times project about Nigeria is mostly the very rural part. But then we have luxury part, luxury or nothing. Have you seen our houses? Oh my God. Have you seen our houses? Have you seen? We have a lot of things to see, sightseeing. See, Nigeria is a fun place to be, but we have our own governance issue, which is crazy. But it's something that I believe that is a chain reaction. So if the people are good people, then the leadership will not have no choice but be good. So I feel like it's just like a ripple effect kind of thing. But we are getting there. Hopefully, we get better. So that's that for my culture shocks. as a Nigerian living in Nigeria. I hope you enjoyed it. If any of them resonates with you, let me know in the comments. If there's a culture shock you have that I did not mention, drop it in the comments, and it's going to be fun. I want to read through your comments, and trust me, I would respond to every one of your comments. So make sure you drop the comments, like the video, like this video. Like, I don't know why I would still use without like this video, watch the video, share it as much as possible, and let's keep the community going. So that's that for today's video. See you next week. Bye.